was no use for me to getting up again. And then I dream your lips onto my skin. I've seen many of your futures and plenty of your past. And I walk miles to get through you, but you're just a bit too fast. It's a morning.
Welcome back to another episode of Morning Coffee. My name is Rick Alexander. Of course, I host the Morning Coffee podcast. For all of you that followed along in the month of November with the 21 Maxims to Maximize Your Life, I just want to say thank you for that. It was actually quite a success. My blog post, which had all of the journaling prompts on them for people that were looking to use these things in their own lives, that blog post actually was in the 10% most read in all of Shopify, and Shopify is such a big website, so that was pretty cool to see so many people wanting to work through this stuff in their own lives. And of course, I pre-recorded all of the 21 Maxims before the month of November because I spent November riding my bike down the East Coast, which was this wild experience in itself. If you guys remember back, I talked a little bit about why I was doing that, the values. But part of it was me wanting to get my mind around where I'm going in the future with this show, with everything that I'm doing with my content creation business, my writing. And so it was really good to be able to unplug for a minute and really just think through some of the bigger things that I'm dealing with and the things that I want to do for this show and the goals that I have. And so that's what we're going to talk about in this show. I'm going to talk about what I'm going to do with it, why I'm going to do that, and then maybe what you can learn from it as well. So the first thing that I want to say, and this is going to come off as a little bit of a shock, but I'm going to do episodes for the next 2 weeks, and then I'm actually taking the last 2 weeks of December off, and we're no longer going to be recording any shows on this channel. Now, I am starting a new podcast, and the new podcast is going to be called Morning Coffee with Rick Alexander, and I will be giving you details on how to resubscribe to that new show. But I will be letting go of this channel, and come mid-January, I'm actually going to delete all of the episodes on this channel. Now, they're not going away forever. I have a project I'm going to do with them later on in the year, but I will tell you that I'm going to be doing the new Morning Coffee show Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Monday and Friday will be a solo show. It'll be similar to what you get with this, although I'm reformatting it a little bit. And then Wednesday is going to be an interview show where I bring people in and just talk to them about their own perspective. And that's what I really want to do, is search for the right perspective that helps you frame your life in a way so that you can create it into whatever it is that you want to create with your life. And so I will have all of the details of that coming up in the next 2 weeks. But big thing to know is that this podcast channel will only have podcasts on it for new podcasts for the next 2 weeks, and then you'll have the entire library of 480 plus podcasts to go back through for about a month after that. And I'll be honest, you could create an entire curriculum just based on the podcast that I've done if you really wanted to change your life for 2020. So there is a lot that you can dive into and go back. Again, they're not going to go away forever. I do have a project I'm doing with them later on, but they will be going away for now. Now, I'm doing this for a very specific reason, and the reason is I'm setting a massive overarching goal that scares the living shit out of me for the next 25 months. And the goal is to put 1,000 people through the Clarity Academy curriculum. Now, that will be my online course. That will be the different variants of it because the course has been licensed by a couple other companies, so they have versions of it, which are also putting people through. And then I'm also going to be doing the live Clarity Academy workshops through 2020 as well. And so all told, my goal is to put 1,000 people through in the next 25 months. So that's by December of 2021. I want to put 1,000 people through the Clarity Academy curriculum. Now, part of it is I'm saying this because I want you guys to keep me honest, right? And if I put it out into the world, no matter how much it scares the shit out of me, I feel like I have to execute on it because I've told people that I'm doing it. And so whatever your goals are heading into 2020, let that be a bit of a lesson to you, which is put them out in the world. Hold yourself accountable to them and allow other people to hold you accountable to them. And the reason I decided that this was going to be the goal is because, I used to get really mad that the Clarity Academy type curriculum, it's really how to think to get what you want. That's what it is. How do you frame the world? How do you look at the things that are happening in your life so that you can actually get whatever it is that you want with your life? And I used to get really mad that I felt like people, they didn't I felt like we weren't taught this, right? It's like somebody was keeping a secret from us. It's like, why the hell aren't we taught to get what we want? And then through this last year of doing the Clarity Academy and coaching it, one of the things I've realized is nobody has these. Like nobody has this. So I have teachers and I have surgeons and I have commanding officers in the Clarity Academy, right? These are people that are running the world in some way, and they're taking the Clarity Academy. And the reason they are is because we're not taught how to think to get what we want. The tools that contribute to somebody's success are just not democratized. And so that's kind of my mission for the next 2 years, is to democratize the tools that allow people to get what they want out of their life. And so I'm super excited to bring everything else I do into alignment with that goal. And so I want to be really calculated about the things that I say on this show. And that's why I'm going to do only a few episodes a week, because I really want to take the time to scrutinize the message and make sure that there's real value in it. And that's kind of what I wanted today's question to be too, which is, what is your scary ass goal? Like, what goal scares the shit out of you that's in the back of your mind that you could commit to? Now, I want to talk about the way we normally go about setting our goals in today's day and age. And what normally happens every year as I head into the new year, I think about all of the different goals I'd like to accomplish. And so let's say you could think of all the goals in your own life. You have physical goals, you have mental goals, you have professional goals, maybe you have family and relational goals. You have all of these different goals to progress all of these different areas in your life. Now, one of the main problems that I always find when I set all of these different goals is I lose focus. Like, I lose focus on what's really important as I try to go after all these different goals. So all my energy is going in 5 or 6 different directions and not in one cohesive direction. So it's hard to feel like I'm making progress toward my goals even when I am, because it feels like I'm going after all of these different things. And so the big realization that I had this year is I'm going to set this one goal, which I believe the world needs, right? And I'm going to bring every other thing that I do into alignment with this goal. So for me, instead of having the writing goals and the speaking goals and the coaching goals and all of these other things, I have this one goal, and it's to put 1,000 people through the Clarity Academy curriculum in the next 25 months. Now, everything that I do as far as speaking, as far as my seminars, as far as the blog posts that I write, what I'm going to be doing is democratizing these tools, these mental tools that help people get success in life, get what they want in life. Not just success from a materialistic standpoint, because that's probably the last thing that I care about, but so that you actually feel like your life has a sense of meaning. And so I'm using this as an example to explain to you, if you're thinking about your own life and all of the different goals you might have for 2020, what might be one overarching goal that you could use to bring everything into alignment with that? See, because now that I know that this is my goal, it actually is going to affect the way that I talk about the Clarity Academy. It's also going to affect the way that I post on social media. It's also going to affect the books that I write. And so I'm always going to be searching for ways to help funnel people into this curriculum, because I believe we're at a point in the world right now where the old paradigms and the old perspectives aren't necessarily serving people to the best of their ability. And there's space now because, well, I could get into it, but because industry has risen the tide, the economic tides, and because we have safety on lockdown, we're now in a position at the world where we actually can focus on self-actualization. But because that's never been the case before, we don't know how to think in order to self-actualize. And so again, that's why my goal is to democratize all of these tools, and why I'm going to set this massive goal. And then I'm going to bring all my other goals. Like if I'm speaking, it's to speak to an audience to help funnel people into this new curriculum in one of its forms, right? And so I have different forms. I'm going to open it up. So this year in January, I'll be announcing a tour schedule. So if you want to work through the Clarity Academy curriculum in person, I'll probably be coming to a city somewhere near you at the end of 2020, and you'll have the opportunity to do that. Now, one of the other big changes is the Clarity Academy is going to reopen December 9th. And so I think this is great because it'll give you an opportunity to work through some of this stuff prior to the new year, if that's what you're looking to do. But it's going to open at a new price point. It's almost 50% off compared to what it's been. And the reason for that is because I'm taking a step back from doing so much coaching. So there's still a one-on-one option if you're interested in doing the Clarity Academy and working through it, like just with me one-on-one, working through this stuff. But that option is going to be an interview process because I want to find the people that are really ready for transformation if I'm going to be giving them my time. And then the group Clarity Academy, you'll actually be able to enroll at any time. So there's no more open and closing of registration, so you can enroll whenever you want. Again, the price point is a little bit cheaper than it used to be. But then instead of us doing these group calls, I'm going to be holding one group call per month. And if you're in the course, you're welcome to jump on the coaching call. And whatever questions you have, you'll be able to ask. I'll also probably take that time to teach a little bit more, or amplify some of the curriculum, or talk about other ways to think about stuff, or provide bonus content or lessons. And so whenever you're going through the Clarity Academy, you'll have the opportunity to jump on that coaching call. But me taking the coaching out of it is going to allow me to get a lot more people through it. And it's going to allow me to progress toward this goal, which is really just teaching people how to think to get what they want. That's what I'm in it for. That's why I'm doing all of this. And so the question to ask yourself today is what overarching goal could you work toward? Could you set as your north arrow, or your highest aim, and then bring every other thing that you're doing into alignment with that goal? Now, the more of your life you can bring into alignment with your goals, the more likely you are to actually achieve whatever it is that you set out to do. And so use my example as your own to think about how you can bring more of your life into alignment with whatever it is that you want to accomplish in this life. I think this is a way to look at goal setting that I haven't seen a lot of people talk about, but it's really become quite a game changer in my own life. It's helping me to conceptualize things a little bit differently. It's helping me to not get lost in details that don't matter. And so I think there's going to be quite a few benefits to this. But ask yourself what goals you might have, and then be willing to stand out on a limb and start telling people about them, so that you can start being held accountable to the life that you actually want. Because sometimes if we're not held accountable, it'll just remain as that thing in the back of our head that we never truly have the courage to pursue. That's what I hope for you. That's certainly where I'm going with my own life. And then, of course, December 9th, the Clarity Academy reopens its registration. If you want to work through it, if you've been looking at it for quite a while, I know we have a lot of people that think about it every time I open registration. Sometimes the price point is a little bit of a barrier for people. So I've really worked through a lot of the things that tend to be barriers for people to bring them down, so that this Clarity Academy curriculum can get out into the world and people can live the life that they actually want. They can incur the self-awareness that allows them to figure out who they really are and what they really want. That's what I want for myself. That's what I want for you. I'd love to know what your big, audacious goal is. What are you going to pursue in 2020? I love you guys. We'll talk tomorrow on Morning Coffee.
Sometimes there's so much change, I just can't rearrange. Sometimes I feel the rain. Fuck you, we're all insane. No sunshine, there's rain. No happiness or pain. Sometimes we stay the same. It took all night, but that peace we tame. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Days keep passing, we all get older. Time's getting harder. Youth is getting colder. I'm learning to resent the lessons I'm learning. And the world keeps turning. The world keeps turning. Days keep passing. We all get older. Times are getting harder. Youth is getting colder. I'm learning to resent the lessons I'm learning. And the world keeps turning. The world keeps turning. Cold years have long passed. Took them for granted, well, it went too fast now. Simplicity is never unsurpassed, and it never pays living in the past. I miss the joys of innocence. Well, fuck playing safe and common sense. We always used to build for the fence, but it all got traded for dollars and cents, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh. And we all get older, time's getting harder. Youth is getting colder, I'm learning to resent the lessons I'm learning. And the world keeps turning, the world keeps turning. Days keep passing, we all get older, times are getting harder. Youth is getting colder, I'm learning to resent the lessons I'm learning. The world keeps turning, the world keeps turning. I'm learning to resent the lessons I'm learning. The world keeps turning, world keeps turning. Days keep passing, we all get older. Times are getting harder, youth is getting colder. I'm learning to resent the lessons I'm learning. The world keeps turning, world keeps turning. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 yeah. Well, thank you. Hey, once again, we're the Bumpin' Uglies.